Hey guys, welcome back to Supreme Court Part 2 series in Champion Competitor. Today we are going to continue with Part 2 of Supreme Court. Before proceeding with this lecture, I advise you to watch the previous for the better understanding. So first let's quickly look at the material which we have talked in first lecture. We have talked about that part 5 of Constitution deals with the Supreme Court in Article 124 to 147. We have talked about the strength of Supreme Court. Right now the strength of Supreme Court is 31, in which one is Chief Justice and 30 other judges. The judges of Supreme Court are appointed by President, and the other judges of the Supreme Court, they are appointed by the President on the consultation with the Chief Justice of India. Then we have understand the evolution of the word consultation in first, second and third judge case of 1982, 93 and 98 respectively. In 98 it was that the consultation means that it is just the exchange of views. It doesn't means that the whatever recommendation Chief Justice give to the President, he has to follow it. Okay, so it is not the concurrence thing like that. In the second judge case, it was ruled that the recommendation which the Chief Justice gave for the appointment of the judges of Supreme Court to the President is the binding. And in third judge case, we have find out that it is not the discretion of the Chief Justice to recommend to the President the names for the post of judges. It has to be priorly discussed with the collegium, which is consist of 4 senior most of judges of the Supreme Court, and if the recommendation which is made by the Chief Justice of India without complying with the norms and requirement of the consultation process, then they are not the binding on government. Okay, so we have seen this. We have also seen the appointment of the Chief Justice. We have found that the senior most judge of the Supreme Court is appointed as the Chief Justice of India. We have also looked at the qualification of judges. We have find out that as such the qualification is that he should be a citizen of India. He should be practicing as a judge of the High Court from past 5 years, or he should be an advocate of High Court for 10 years, or he should be a distinguished jurist as in the opinion of President. Okay, so, and the minimum age of a judge is not prescribed in the Constitution. So there is no minimum age criteria for the appointment of Supreme Court judge. Then we had talked about the tenure. As such, there is no fixed tenure in the Constitution, but it was decided by the Parliament that the person will hold the office of the Supreme Court as the Supreme Court judge up to the age of 65 years, or as determined by the Parliament. He will resign by writing to the President. So the judges of the Supreme Court, they are appointed by President, and if they want to resign, they will hand over their resignation letter to the President. Then we have discussed that the President can also remove the judge of Supreme Court on the recommendation of Parliament. Then we looked at the impeachment process of judge, that if the impeachment process has to be is introduced in Lok Sabha, then 100 members signature for the removal of motion is required, and if it is introduced in Rajya Sabha, 50 member signature is required. The motion is given to Speaker or Chairman. If they accept it, then he will constitute a 3-member committee to investigate the charges. And then if the committee find out that the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the judges of the Supreme Court are guilty, then the committee will forward the report to the House, and then after passing it in the House by special majority, it is going to be it will be presented to the President for his assent, and once the assent is given, he will be impeached. We have also looked at the salary and allowances. We have all looked at it was determined by Parliament from time to time. Then we have talked about acting Chief Justice. When the office of Chief Justice is vacant, then the President will appoint a judge of Supreme Court as the acting judge. We have talked about ad hoc judge, that when the quorum is not met of the permanent judge, then the Chief Justice of India will appoint the judge of High Court as the ad hoc judge. Then we have talked about retired judge, that the retired judge cannot practice as such, but if the Chief Justice of High Court requests the retired judge, only then he can practice. Then we have talked about seat of Supreme Court. As such, Delhi is the seat, but it can be changed by the Chief Justice of India with the approval of President. Then we have talked about procedure of court, that for any procedure there has to be a quorum. Then, so in today's lecture we will start with this slide. In this slide we will talking about independence of Supreme Court, that what powers Constitution gave to Supreme Court so that he can give his verdict without the influence of any executive or legislative power. Okay, so what powers are there? So let's see. The Supreme Court has been assigned very significant role in Indian democratic political system. It is a federal court. I have told you what does federal court means, that this court is the top highest court or the topmost level court. And under it there is a series of high court, and under those high courts there are subordinate court. So this is the federal court, the meaning of federal court. It is the highest court of appeal. If you are not given justice in district court, you can move to high court. If you are not given justice even in high court, then you can move to Supreme Court. Supreme Court is the guarantor of fundamental rights of the citizen, and it is also the guardian of Constitution. So it is both the guardian of fundamental rights and Constitution. Now it should be free from encroachment, pressures, interference, because it has to perform all these duties. So let's see how it is free. First is by the mode of appointment. The judges of Supreme Court are appointed by President, which means cabinet, in consultation with member of judiciary itself. That we have talked about the collegium, judges of Supreme Court and the High Court. Now this provision curtails the absolute discretion of the executive, as well as the ensure that the judicial appointments are not based on any political or practical consideration. Okay, so by appointing this collegium, they make sure that the politicians cannot appoint their kins at this very important place. Security of tenure. The judges of Supreme Court are provided with the security of tenure. They can be removed from office of President only in the manner or on the ground mentioned in the Constitution. This means that they do not hold the office during the pleasure of President. So in MCQ examination they basically ask that who among them holds the office during the pleasure of president? They'll say prime minister, governor, the judges of supreme court, and they और क्या देख सकते हैं, चीफ मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट, कुछ भी. ओके, ऐसा कोई भी ऑप्शन दे सकते हैं. सो अमंग दोज ऑप्शन द करेक्ट आंसर इज the judges of Supreme Court. They do not hold office during the pleasure of president. Though they are appointed by him, if they want to resign, they hand over their resignation letter to him, but they do not work under him. Okay. Now this is obvious from the fact that no judge of the Supreme Court has been removed or impeached so far. Fixed service condition. The salaries, allowance, privilege, leaves, they are determined by the parliament and they are charged on the consolidated fund of India. So they are not discussed in the parliament. Okay, and once their salary, allowance, privileges, they are decided, the parliament cannot change them, okay, to their disadvantage. Conduct of judges cannot be discussed, and the constitution also prohibit the parliament that, or in the state legislature, that they cannot discuss the conduct of the judges of Supreme Court while discharging their duties, except when the impeachment motion is considering. Ban on practice after retirement. The retired judge of the Supreme Court are prohibited from pleading or acting in any court or before any authority within the territory of India. This ensures that they do not favor anyone or in the hope of future favor. Okay. Then power to punish for its contempt. The Supreme Court can punish any person for its contempt. Thus, its action and the decisions cannot be criticized or opposed by anybody. This power is vested in Supreme Court to maintain its authority, dignity and honor. So if anybody give a critical comment on the decision of Supreme Court, then Supreme Court can punish that person for its contempt. Okay, ये सुना ही होगा आपने मूवीज में that आप contempt of court में हम आपको punish कर सकते हैं. Okay. Freedom to appoint its staff. Chief Justice of India can appoint the officers and the servants of Supreme Court without any interference from the executive. He can also prescribe their condition of service. Condition means what salaries and other privileges they will be getting. Its jurisdiction cannot be curtailed. The Parliament is not authorized to curtail the jurisdiction and the power of Supreme Court. The Constitution has guaranteed to the Supreme Court jurisdiction of various kind. However, Parliament can extend. So Parliament can extend the jurisdiction of Supreme Court, but it cannot curtail. Okay. Separation from executive. The Constitution directs the state to take steps to separate the judiciary from executive in the public service. This means that the executive authority should not possess the judicial powers. Consequently, upon its implementation, the role of executive authorities in judicial administration came to an end. So this is all about how the Supreme Court of India is made an independent body. So it is made independent body by giving these many powers, you can see. Okay, now let's look at the jurisdiction and powers of Supreme Court. Now this part is very important. Okay. The Constitution has conferred a very extensive jurisdiction and vast power on the Supreme Court. It is not only the federal court like American Supreme Court, but also the final court of appeal like the British House of Lords, the upper house of the British Parliament. In Britain, in India, the final court of appeal is Supreme Court, whereas in Britain, it is the upper house of the Parliament. It is also the final interpreter and the guardian of Constitution. It is the guardian of fundamental right. This I have already talked. It has advisory and supervisory power. Therefore, Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, a member of drafting committee and Constitution, remarked that Supreme Court of India has more power than any other Supreme Court in any part of the world. Now, these 7 are the jurisdiction and power Supreme Court, and we will be discussing each of them separately, and each of them can be framed as a MCQ question. Okay, from each several MCQ questions can be framed, so I am discussing them in detail. So let's proceed. The first part is the original jurisdiction. What does original jurisdiction means? It means that कि अगर ये पर्टिकुलर कुछ केसेस आते हैं जो अभी हम लिस्ट करने वाले हैं, अगर इन पर्टिकुलर केसेस में कोई भी केस आता है तो वो केस डायरेक्टली सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैंडल करेगा. इसे कहते हैं ओरिजिनल जुरिस्डिक्शन. एज द फेडरल कोर्ट, द सुप्रीम कोर्ट डिसाइडेड द डिस्प्यूट बिटवीन डिफरेंट यूनिट ऑफ इंडियन फेडरेशन. अब what are the different units of Indian Federation? It could be the center and one or more states. Center और state disputes हो सकते हैं. Center and any state or state on one side and one or more state on the other side. ये भी हो सकता है कि center और कुछ state एक साथ है और कुछ state उनके अगेंस्ट में है, और between the states. तो अगर ये तीनों कंडीशन होती हैं तो उस कंडीशन में किसी हाई कोर्ट में वो जुरिस्डिक्शन या वो केस नहीं जाएगा, वो केस डायरेक्टली सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैंडल करेगा. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज ओरिजिनल जुरिस्डिक्शन. ओके, सो रिमेंबर सेंटर स्टेट रिलेशन, सेंटर स्टेट डिस्प्यूट्स, सेंटर स्टेट ऑन वन साइड एंड अदर स्टेट्स ऑन अदर साइड, और बिटवीन टू स्टेट्स, two or more states. In the above federal dispute, Supreme Court has exclusive original jurisdiction. Exclusive means no other court can decide such dispute, and original means the power to hear such dispute in the first instance. इसको बोलता है first instance. Okay, not by the way of appeal. ये नहीं है कि अगर ये तीनों कंडीशन में कोई भी केस होता है तो पहले वो डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जाएगा, फिर वो हाई कोर्ट में आएगा, फिर हाई कोर्ट कहेगा नहीं जी आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाइए. डायरेक्टली सुप्रीम कोर्ट विल लुक एट द केस. विद रिगार्ड टू द exclusive original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, 2 points should be noted. What are those 2 points? The dispute must involve a question whether of law or fact on which the existence or extent of a legal right depends. Thus the question of political nature are excluded from it. So ये नहीं है कि सेंटर और स्टेट के बीच में किसी पॉलिटिकल मैटर को लेकर के कोई भी लड़ाई चल रही है तो वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाएंगे. ठीक है, वो मैटर कुछ ऐसा होना चाहिए जिसके अंदर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कुछ प्रोविजन है, वो सेंटर कह रहा है नहीं इस प्रोविजन का मतलब ये है, स्टेट कह रही है नहीं इस प्रोविजन का मतलब ये है. ठीक है, एंड दे आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड ईच अदर, तो उस कंडीशन में सुप्रीम कोर्ट बीच में आएगा. ठीक है, तो कोई लॉ या कोई फैक्ट है उसके बारे में. एनी सूट ब्रॉट बिफोर द सुप्रीम कोर्ट बाय द प्राइवेट सिटीजन अगेंस्ट द सेंटर एंड स्टेट कैन नॉट बी एंटरटेन्ड अंडर दिस. ठीक है, और इसके अंदर ये नहीं है कि कोई भी सिटीजन सेंटर के अगेंस्ट या स्टेट के अगेंस्ट कोई भी केस है उसका, तो वो डायरेक्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट नहीं जा सकता. उसको पहले बाय द वे ऑफ अपील उसको वहां पहुंचना होगा. Further, this jurisdiction of Supreme Court does not extend the following. Now, किस कंडीशन में extend नहीं होता है? A dispute arising out of any pre-constitution treaty, agreement, covenant, engagement, sanad, or other similar instrument. A dispute arising out of any treaty, agreement, etc., which specifically provides that the said jurisdiction does not extend to such a dispute. इंटरस्टेट वाटर डिस्प्यूट. तो इंटरस्टेट वाटर डिस्प्यूट अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट नहीं करेगा तो कौन करता है? उसके लिए इंटरस्टेट वाटर ट्रिब्यूनल्स बनते हैं, ठीक है, और उनका ज्यूरिसडिक्शन एक्सक्लूसिव होता है. देयरफॉर इसको यहाँ सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ज्यूरिसडिक्शन से एक्सक्लूड किया गया है. मैटर्स रेफर टू द फाइनेंस कमीशन, एडजस्टमेंट ऑफ सर्टेन एक्सपेंसेस एंड पेंशंस बिटवीन द सेंटर एंड द स्टेट, ordinary dispute of commercial nature between center and the state, recovery of damage by the state against the center, the second jurisdiction is the writ jurisdiction. The Constitution has constituted the Supreme Court as the guarantor and defender of the fundamental rights of the citizen. The Supreme Court is empowered to issue the writs. Now, Supreme Court and as well as High Court, they are allowed to order certain writs. These writs are habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto, certiorari, for the enforcement of fundamental right of the aggrieved citizen. Okay, and also if the fundamental right of any citizen is being violated, he can directly move to Supreme Court under Article 32. Okay, तो वहां पे लेट्स से वो पहुंच गया बंदा सुप्रीम कोर्ट, तो उसकी फंडामेंटल राइट्स को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए वो गिल्टी अथॉरिटी को ये रिट्स हेबियस कॉर्पस, मैंडेमस, प्रोहिबिशन, क्यू वारंटो एंड सर्जरी ऑर्डर कर सकती है. ओके, इन दिस रिगार्ड द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज ओरिजिनल ज्यूरिसडिक्शन इन द सेंस दैट द एग्रीव्ड सिटीजन कैन डायरेक्टली गो टू सुप्रीम कोर्ट, नॉट नेसेसरी बाय द वे ऑफ अपील. बाय द वे ऑफ अपील भी जा सकता है, दैट फर्स्ट ही कैन गो टू द हाई कोर्ट. इफ हाई कोर्ट इज नॉट एबल टू सॉल्व द issue, then he can move to Supreme Court, or otherwise he can directly go to Supreme Court. However, the writ jurisdiction of Supreme Court is not exclusive. Not exclusive means Supreme Court can order these writs only and only when the fundamental rights of an aggrieved person is being violated. For other cases, he cannot order these writs. Whereas the High Court is empowered to issue the writs for enforcing the fundamental rights and for other purposes as well. It means when the fundamental right of citizen are violated, the aggrieved party has the option has the option to move either to the High Court or to the Supreme Court directly. Therefore, the original jurisdiction of Supreme Court with regard to federal dispute is different from its original disputes with regard to dispute relating to the fundamental rights. In the first case, so in the federal dispute which we have talked just now about the original jurisdiction, it is exclusive, and in the second it is concurrent with the High Court's jurisdiction. Moreover, the parties involved in the first case are units of federation, center or state, while the dispute in the second case is between center and government or the citizen, both center or state. There is also a difference between writ jurisdiction of Supreme Court and High Court, that Supreme Court can issue writs only for the enforcement of fundamental right and not for the other purposes, and the High Court on the other hand can issue writ not only for the enforcement of fundamental right but also for the other purpose. This I have talked, so I'm not going to take it. It means that the jurisdiction of the High Court is wider as compared to the Supreme Court, but the Parliament can enforce the Supreme Court the power to issue the writ for other purposes as well. Right now it cannot, but if Parliament want, he can. Okay, the third power is the appellate jurisdiction. Now, as mentioned earlier, so appellate means appeal. By the way of appeal, a person is moving from the lower courts to the Supreme Court. So ये appellate jurisdiction में अपील वाला जो प्रोसीजर है, अब अपील में कौन कौन से केसेस आते हैं वो देखते हैं हम. इसके अंदर आता है अपील इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मैटर, अपील इन सिविल मैटर्स, क्रिमिनल मैटर्स एंड स्पेशल लीव्स. अब इसमें फर्स्ट देखते हैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मैटर कौन से हैं. इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल केसेस an appeal can be made to the Supreme Court against the judgment of the High Court. If the High Court certifies that the case involves a substantial question of law that requires the interpretation of Constitution. One thing more, that the power to interpret Constitution lies only and only with the judges of Supreme Court. High Court and other courts, they cannot interpret the Constitution. Okay, so whenever there is some matter in which constitutional interpretation is required, so because High Court doesn't have this power, so it has to recommend the case to be passed on or to be decided by the Supreme Court. Okay, and based on this certificate, then the party will appeal to the Supreme Court. The second is in civil matters. In civil cases, an appeal lies to Supreme Court from any judgment of the High Court if High Court certifies. And High Court can certify in two cases. First, if the case involves a substantial question of law of general importance, or the question needs the decision by the Supreme Court. Okay, originally any civil case which is involved beyond the sum of 20,000 can only be taken for the Supreme Court or can be transferred. Okay, जो 20,000 से ऊपर वाले जो भी मैटर्स है सिर्फ उनको ही सुप्रीम कोर्ट में फॉरवर्ड कर सकते हैं. बट 30th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट ऑफ 1972 में ये जो मॉनेटरी लिमिट था ऑफ 20,000, दिस हैज बीन रिमूव्ड. द नेक्स्ट इज द क्रिमिनल मैटर. किस क्रिमिनल मैटर में सुप्रीम कोर्ट सर्टिफाई करेगा, सॉरी हाई कोर्ट सर्टिफाई करेंगे कि वो क्रिमिनल केस आप अपील के अंडर सुप्रीम कोर्ट में ले जा सकते हैं. If the appeal reserved an order of acquittal of an accused person and sentence him to death. What does that mean? An acquittal is a person which is freed from every type of क्या बोलते सकते हैं उसके खिलाफ जो भी मैटर्स हैं वो सॉल्व कर दिए गए हैं, और फिर यानी कि एक तरीके से एक गिल्टी पर्सन को फ्री कर दिया गया, और फिर जो उसका जो जजमेंट है वो रिवर्स किया गया, और उसके बाद या तो उस एक्यूज्ड पर्सन को वापस से जेल कराया गया, या फिर उसको सीधा डायरेक्टली डेथ पेनल्टी दे दी गई है. तो इस कंडीशन में जो गिल्टी है या कन्विक्ट है वो ही कैन मूव टू दी सुप्रीम कोर्ट. Has taken before itself any case or any subordinate court from any subordinate court and convicted the accused person and sentenced him to death. या फिर कोई भी ऐसा केस सबॉर्डिनेट कोर्ट से अपने आप अपील के लिए भी ले सकता है सुप्रीम कोर्ट, जिस केस में सबॉर्डिनेट कोर्ट ने accused पर्सन को डेथ सेंटेंस पेनल्टी दिया है. Whenever the lower court certify that the case is fit for the appeal for Supreme Court, then also he can move to Supreme Court. And first two cases, an appeal lies to Supreme Court as the matter of right. That is because first or second condition में the lower court hasn't certified the case to certify the case to be moved to the Supreme Court. So ये तो यहाँ right की बात आती है कि without certificate you can move from High Court to the Supreme Court. Whereas in third condition it is certified. So it is basically by the order. Here the High Court or the lower court has ordered the acquittal of the accused. There is no right of okay, ये छोड़िए, आगे बढ़ते हैं. In 1970, Parliament has enlarged the criminal appellate jurisdiction of Supreme Court. Accordingly, an appeal lies to the Supreme Court from the judgment of the High Court. If the High Court has an appeal, reserved an order of acquittal or accused person and sentence him to imprisonment of life or for 10 years, or has taken before itself any case from subordinate court convicted of accused person sentence of imprisonment for life or for 10 years. Now here if you see, एक्विटल को अगर जो भी बंदा है उसको डेथ पेनल्टी दी गई है, तभी वो पहले अर्लियर केसेस में 97 से पहले अगर उसको डेथ पेनल्टी दी गई है तो इसे वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में मूव कर सकता है, या फिर सबऑर्डिनेट कोर्ट ने डेथ पेनल्टी दी है और फिर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उस मैटर को देखा है. 70 के बाद उन केसेस में भी दोनों ही कंडीशन में अगर पनिशमेंट लाइफ इम्प्रिजमेंट या 10 ईयर की इम्प्रिजमेंट है तो भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पास अपील के लिए जा सकते हैं. Further, the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court extend to all civil and criminal cases in which Federal Court of India had jurisdiction to hear appeal from the High Court, but which are not covered under the civil criminal appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court mentioned above. Okay, so the part 2 of Supreme Court I'll be concluding here, and the rest of the matter I'll be taking in Supreme Court part 3. Please watch the first video before watching this. Please like the video, share with your friends and subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.